in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to another great episode here of the Wrestle Talk Podcast. For those of you that don't know me, my name is the one and only the big sexy, the road dog, Chris Rodell, coming to you live with another edition of the Wrestle Talk Podcast, where we got all kinds of great stuff that's going to be happening. We're going to have our high spot segment. We're going to have our FWC segment. We're hoping to have snippets of truth as well. And also, we're going to have not a lengthy discussion, but we're going to have a discussion about a trip that myself, the Maestro, Jay Wade, and Luke Roberts took this past week to the city of Waterloo, Iowa for the Tragos Thesz National Wrestling Hall of Fame. But I can't do this alone. I do have a co-host, and he is waiting backstage patiently. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him on in. Spent a lot of time with this gentleman this past weekend, and it's good to see that he got home safely to the lovely city of Seattle. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my co-host this week, Jay Wade, Justin Wade. Justin,
hey,
how's it going, buddy?
Good. How we doing tonight? Can you hear me pretty good?
Oh yeah, I can hear you good. You sound wonderful.
All right, I got a new mic I'm using. So
cool.
Yeah. So let's talk some wrestling. We had a big trip we just came back from. I'm a little tired because all in all, I was on the road and in the air for about 10, 11 hours on yesterday or Sunday. So yeah, I'm still a little jet lagged.
How was the Uber ride? How was the Uber ride home from the airport?
The Uber ride was fun, but I was the guy. The first thing he asked me is, "What type of work do I do?" And I told him I'm an investigator, up in northern Washington. And he goes, "Oh, good. I'm an activist from Somalia." And I'm like, "Oh, great." So luckily, I'm only able to work out of a few towns in northern Washington, and I couldn't really be of assist to him. But from the time he picked me up, and 45 minutes later, till the time he dropped me off, he told me about what he was trying to do in the state of Washington with his people over in Somalia. I felt bad for him, but unless you want to talk wrestling, I'm of little to no help. So.
Well, that's good. We're going to be talking more about our trip a little bit later on in the show, in place of our guests after our FWC and Snippets of Truth segment. We'll talk about our trip because I believe that we can all say that we had a great time on that trip. I mean, we had
a fantastic time. It's been a minute since we've all been together. And as I can tell you, after being in a room full of men for 4 days, I'm glad to be back in the arms of my beautiful wife.
And she hasn't killed you yet, so that's
oh
good.
No, she won't kill me. She loves me. I made it home safely on time. So,
well, before we get started, we are going to take a moment and we're going to thank our sponsors here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast. I'm going to load them up here. I'd like to thank all of our great sponsors: Royal Mills Transportation, the CEO Dewan Mills. He will be on a little bit later on. Rathbun Engraving. Get those beautiful Wrestle Talk Podcast mugs for just $20. Nobleman's Barber Lounge in KC, Missouri. Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall, I-70 Sports Media with the Maestro Jeremy Carp, Little Popeye Designs. You can get those beautiful World Wrestle Talk Podcast tumblers, and the one and only FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. So those are our sponsors. We couldn't do anything without them, and we are glad to have them on board here at the Wrestle Talk Podcast. So also we have a tradition that we like to do. So I gotta find it because it's been a while since I've done all this stuff. I'm trying to remember where everything is. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. Oh, there it is. All right, please, everyone, we ask that if you are wearing any kind of hat, we ask that you please remove it as we honor our country with the playing of our beautiful national anthem.
That's rough.
Yes. I also this comment is always a great reminder that I need to give out. If you're watching us from inside of any group, we ask that you go up to the top and say enable comments, or it's a comment, it's a click up there, and it allows your name to actually be shown. So we will hope that you click that, and we'll be able to at least give you some acknowledgement. We got some fans already here. Aaron is in the house already tonight. Apparently his mom's 65th birthday would have been her 65th birthday. Let's see. Oh, brings a tear to my eye. Yes, the Roseanne anthem brings a tear to your eye and one giant headache. I can't agree more. Stephen Freddie Jack is in the house. Wanted to say hi to me. So hello. There's a lot going on in wrestling right now, Justin.
Yes, there is.
It was actually kind of nice to. We're going to talk about one of the first topics we're going to talk about is AEW. It was kind of nice to sit there in the hotel room while we were chilling, just kind of off me, you, and Luke, just watching a little bit of wrestling.
Yeah, watching Blood and Guts. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Man, Dominic has had a eventful 4 shows in the last week.
Well, yeah, he was the only he main evented Raw, NXT, and SmackDown last week.
You know what? Before you know it, I'm gonna say it now. He might be the number 1 heel in the next 5 years. They keep putting the rocket ship on him and playing him right. He's gonna. Oh man.
I mean, they hate him. They boo him out of the building just about every time he tries to talk. His promos are going to be so short because he's not going to be able to talk. So, and he's already opening up. I got NXT on in the corner of my eye, and he's already out there on the TV screen. So, I mean, it's good to see. But we'll get into that and a whole lot more. We've got SummerSlam around the corner. I do have an Impact question. So we don't get many Impact questions, but something's coming up on Thursday for them. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the high spot segment, but we only have one person that can bring us into that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's DJ Money and the high spot segment.
Mic check. Yeah. All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like flare chops. We talk shop, coming through the screens of the laptop and non-stop like a running speakers of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops, like a clock flash, look like a barely fly. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast, now they know we about to start the show.
All right, Justin, let's go ahead and jump right on into it. We're gonna start things off tonight with something that we were all together for watching. We kind of alluded to it earlier. Blood and Guts. The whole show is Blood and Guts, but let's concentrate first on just that Blood and Guts match because it wasn't the greatest of the Blood and Guts matches that we've seen, but it wasn't the worst. Justin, what were your thoughts on watching that this past Wednesday?
Well, honestly, this was like the first one that I have officially I've caught on social media bits and pieces of it. It was kind of good to see what it entailed. You know, it was pretty much reminiscent of War Games. I guess that's what they're going for, an extreme version of it. But because of trademarks and such, they have to call it a different name. I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was a little toned down to my liking. I don't know. I like the aspects of of Don Callis pulling his guy out of there, and then Pac and Claudio having their blow up, but that was to set up the main event for Ring of Honor. So it was nice to see the good guys win. And from what I heard, Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite shook hands after the show went off the air. So
yeah, it was an interesting show. I have yet to go back and look at watch the Ring of Honor, the match between Claudio and Pac, and I just know they just beat the living tar out of each other for a few minutes. So I mean, you could see that. I thought it was a good match. It was a good flow. You kind of figured who was going to start because you needed people with cardio, and we know Claudio can go all day long because I believe the match was like 60-something minutes long.
Yeah, it went almost an hour.
But it was good. Do you think the right team won?
Oh, Blackpool Combat Club. They're if you think about it, they're one man down with Daniel Bryan being out with that fractured wrist. So they had to pull people from reserves to get the match complete. I kind of like the setup for the main event for Ring of Honor, but I have my thoughts on that as well. If there's hopefully we have a high spot in regards to Ring of Honor coming up. If not,
we can talk about it. We got time tonight to talk about some things, but do you think the Blood and Guts match would work better on a pay-per-view event and not on national network TV?
I believe it would, especially when when the Elite added I can't say his last name, the star from Japan, Ibo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It kind of feels like he was thrown on this last minute and it wasn't built up because a lot of fans don't know him. I know him from when he teamed with Omega back in the day as the golden. I'm so bad with. I got a lot going on in my head right now. I'm kind of being low key because I still have people in the office. So as soon as they leave, I'm going to let loose some rants. So, and we know how everyone enjoys my rant meter. So
yes, we had some rants in Iowa, and they were mostly about how Seattle food sucks, basically. So
my good Lord, it was, you guys we want to talk about what we did in Iowa.
The Golden Lovers was their name.
Rody, did that they have to click on something on their Facebook?
They have to click on. There's something grant permission to use name in the Facebook group.
To those listening, it won't let us acknowledge you if you don't let them agree to let them use your name when you're posting.
Yeah. Yes. So
I would like to acknowledge the fans on here. Because that helped me out. I didn't know. I knew they were golden something, and the fan posted the Golden Lovers, and that's the team.
It was a Bushi that they brought in.
Bushi, yes.
We got the Night Owl in the house talking about the Ring of Honor. Athena broke the Ring of Honor women's title record on the Blast show, and they main evented the show, which I thought was really cool.
I did enjoy that. My problem is that with Claudio Amore, they don't have a distinct rival for him. It just seems like they're throwing guys in there against him that have no story for after the fact. It doesn't have any real challenges.
I think they were supposed to be building up Briscoe to that, but obviously he got injured, so the booking kind of changed, and that's why they brought Pac back over and did that. But from what I understand, the Ring of Honor card was really good. I haven't had a chance to go back and watch it yet, so that's something I'm going to do these last couple of days of my vacation, is catch up on some things I didn't get to see, or at very least get to see some of the snippets from the show. So but yeah, Blood and Guts was a good show. This Thursday, I don't know if you've heard this tonight since you've been working all day. We're going to get to our Impact Wrestling question because I know we don't get to talk much about Impact Wrestling on here. They're going to have a major this is going to be one of those Tony Khan major announcements that he seems to have every single week on AEW. But they're apparently going to have a major announcement on Thursday. And what do you think it will be? It is speculated that they are going. It's going to be something international, and the speculation is it's either a tour or a pay-per-view over international. So what do you think? Do you think it could be that, or do you think they're just throwing us off the scent?
No, I really do think it'll probably be an international pay-per-view. I know that they're having Aldis against Eric Young this Thursday on Impact. They announced that they're going to be having a formal match, but yeah, when it comes to the rumor mill, it seems like they're trying to take a book out of Mr. Tony Khan. It seems like Tony Khan's always having a surprise of some sort. But yeah, probably having another pick. They do a lot of stuff over in Japan and stuff. So wonder where they're heading.
Yeah, maybe the UK. Maybe they've went to India at one point. I remember that. That was a long time ago though. So, I mean, it's good for them. They seem to be doing fairly well. And it's good to see Eric Young back in Impact where he probably belongs. I mean, he's been in Impact for so long. And he was with the WWE. He was with the WWE, but he asked for his release when Vince came back, and also got sidelined because apparently he was supposed to be part of the Bray Wyatt faction, and that kind of got with Bray Wyatt's injury and Alexa getting knocked up. That kind of knocked that off. But it's good to see Eric Young back in Impact Wrestling.
Yeah. So. Yes. To put it nicely, yes, she did get knocked up or pregnant. If we want to be nice about it. Eric Young was worried when McMahon became. Well, thank you, Sonny. Eric Young got nervous when McMahon came back into the fold, and he didn't say it, but he kind of said it in his interview. That's one reason why he got out of there.
Yes. So yeah. So that'll be cool. It'll be interesting to see what they're planning on doing this next week. So I mean, I guess stand back and stand by. I guess to see what it's going to be. We do have SummerSlam coming up. Are you looking forward to some of the matches that they've announced for SummerSlam already?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Finn Balor and Rollins. You got Brock and Cody.
I was just gonna say you got Jay versus Roman, and what's going to be a tribal.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Roman and Jay in a tribal combat match. That's going to be kind of interesting, don't you think? We missed the promo because we were at a wrestling show, but apparently the stuff I've seen online about it was really a good promo. Jay's really made it his own in the cutting promo department.
Yeah, they're going to tear the house down. The storyline's going to continue. Is it for the belt? Do we know if it's for the belt? It is for, I believe it is for the belt, and I think also maybe for like the bloodline. So you're gonna have to bear with me. I got a lot of people talking behind me. So.
I kind of hear them. So
I might have to cut out for a second and let you take reins for a second. But
yeah, it should be a good match. I mean, the whole bloodline storyline has been like we said, who said it in Iowa on the panel? Was it Les Thatcher that said it, that the bloodline story has been the best thing in years in the WWE?
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah.
So I mean, fans, you can leave your comments if you like. If you're interested, and Renee popping in with SummerSlam, Brock versus Cody finally got interesting. Yeah, you could say that. You could say that. And what type of match would you like to see between Brock and Cody?
All right, see you tomorrow.
Hold on one sec.
Okay.
See you later, Mr. Yeah, I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna mute his mic just a second. He's saying goodbye to his coworkers. So, I muted you temporarily because I didn't want to leak out any secret information from the attorneys.
No, that was just the head of the firm telling me to have a good night and have fun. So he appreciates my work during the 9 to 5 shift, but he kind of works overtime all the time. And I can't. I'm not gonna lie to you. He's the Vince McMahon of this building, so I can't just, wave him off when he acknowledges me. So, yeah. I like this. I'm not gonna lie. I like to see Brock and Cody do Hell in a Cell. I wouldn't mind seeing that. And I think they might tear it up. I think they you put Brock and Cody in a match, it's gonna they're going to do some numbers, I believe, for this SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, what type of match? What type of match do you think it's going to be, and what would you like to see it be?
Well, like I said, I'd like to see it be Hell in a Cell, like I said.
Yeah,
But I think it's going to be probably. I've been reading that it might be 2 out of 3 falls, 3 stages of hell.
three stages of hell would be different. I haven't seen
Now,
one of those.
if you remember, man, one of the best 3 stages of hell was back in No Way.
Was that Austin?
Right before Austin won the belt. That was a classic. They had a regular match, a hardcore match, and a steel cage match, and they went for almost 45 minutes. It was amazing.
Yeah, I was wondering if it may be something like a Texas Bull Rope match or something. Something kind of old school that you see. It might be that. I mean, it's interesting, but yes, Finn and Seth are going to be a very good match, and I like how Finn is going back and talking about the 7 years because Seth is the one that injured him.
Can you believe that it's been that long?
I know it doesn't
feel like it. No, it doesn't. And can you believe the stuff we were watching in the Attitude Era is going to be like 30 years old here in like 4 or 5 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, it's a Night Owl. It's not the coolest job podcasting at work, but if I didn't do it as soon as my 5 o'clock hour hit, where I'm off the clock, then I would never get to be on because I'd have to wait till I got home to do it. I'm about 30 minutes away, so.
And as you said, Seattle traffic is not very much fun.
It's the worst I've ever seen. I haven't been to Los Angeles yet, but it's the worst I've ever seen.
I heard Atlanta has the worst traffic. Has pretty bad traffic too. So, but maybe that's just every maybe that's every major city that has bad traffic. We did a lot of ranting about Seattle on the trip. I do remember that, but it was fun though. It was good.
I'm looking forward to SummerSlam. Finn Balor he's got to win this. He's got to win this because it's going to be make it or break him because everybody in the Judgment Day has something. Damien's got the briefcase. Dirty Dom's got the North American title, and Rhea's got the women's heavyweight title, and he's supposed to be the leader of this faction, and if he can't even get the belt off of, become the heavyweight champion, then we got a problem. He's going to have some problems. They're going to start probably, there's rumors of breakups between the Judgment Day and stuff.
Here's a good question. Will Damian Priest be able to successfully cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase against a member of the Judgment Day? And he says he's not going to, but they're kind of teasing it,
It just, wouldn't that be a nail in the coffin if Balor wins it at SummerSlam after, like he said, was it 7 years since he took it from him and Rollins tore the house down at SummerSlam in 2016.
Yeah, it was for the first Universal title, and he took the buckle bomb into the guardrail, and it separated his shoulder, and he was out for a long time. Had to relinquish the belt the next day. Held it less than 24 hours. So
just think, like, if he wins it, and then Damian cashes in that night and beats him, wouldn't that's like a big, like, defiant move from, if you guys are a team, what would you do if you beat Luke in a strap match for a title, and I came in and you're the leader of our group, and I come in and take you out for your belt? How is that? That's gonna put some rumblings in that faction if that happens.
Or what about if, like, Finn doesn't win the match and then Damian comes and cashes in? So does that makes Finn look weak? Like
it does. It does. If you couldn't beat him and I can, why are you the leader of our group?
Yeah. Renee also wants to. Can we talk about LA Knight? And then he followed it up with the Are they dropping the ball with LA Knight?
I don't know. I feel like he's becoming famous, and the WWE doesn't know how to handle it because they probably weren't expecting this. So they're letting him roll.
because he's organically over. It's not from the machine of the WWE. It's because of the crowds that are
Yeah,
doing
and it doesn't help that I listen throughout the week, and I listen to Kevin Nash's a lot. Man, he's got a soothing, relaxing voice, Big Kev, and he's talked down about LA.
Yeah, he
and
says
a Rock knockoff and an Austin knockoff, and it kind of makes me think. I'm like, well, maybe he's got some maybe he's got some truth to that. I don't know. I just I'm not a big fan of LA Knight myself, but to begin with, I'm really looking forward to the ones that break the mold out of this. I'd like to see, Gunther and Jey Uso, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a big fan of Dominic right now. His performance, he's a very young man, and they're throwing him the ball, and he's doing magnificent. Like, you should have heard his reactions in Mexico over the weekend. They broke records over the weekend in the 2-day shows they did Saturday and Sunday in Mexico.
I can believe it. I mean, Mexico's big for wrestling.
And they said he had nuclear heat.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Dirty Dom is the North American champion in NXT. Cash or trash?
It's cash, because they're going to have Judgment Day on all the shows. They're taking advantage of their success right now.
Is that overexposing Judgment Day, or is that just taking advantage of the hot act right now because everyone is watching the Judgment Day
right now? Because if you think about it, that's the perfect belt right now for Dominic.
Right.
He's perfect for that role. You got Bailey, or I'm sorry, you got Rhea, who she is impressing me with her work, and
I found out she's only 27 years old.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be her and Bailey at SummerSlam, and I think that's going to tear the house down. So, yeah. Or unless they're going to have Bailey against Trish one more time.
Becky and Trish.
Gosh, I'm so sorry. I get those two. The names with the B's. Bianca, Bailey, and
but no, I think it is going to be Becky and Trish at SummerSlam, and it's probably going to end up being Raquel Rodriguez versus Rhea, and then
you got Damian, who is there. You go, Julius. I like that answer. You got Damian Priest, who's got that briefcase, and man, he's been having some great matches. He's been putting on some. Rhea still sucks.
Jared, my good friend, is in the house, and he's gonna hone in on the rest of the night, and probably make some really bad takes. So
it's all right. It's all right. Hey, that's what the fans are for. They can say what they want, and we all have our opinion on here. I think LA Knight is trash. A lot of people like him. So.
Right. This comment is so true. The fact that he's a Mysterio but acts like Eddie is money. So
yeah, and did he say he wished Eddie was his father?
Yeah, I believe.
Man, that's some storytelling, man. Because if I told that to my old man, he would put a boot in my ass.
And what's funny is that some people don't even remember the Rey versus the Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero ladder
match for custody of
Dominic. Talk about your long-term storytelling. Now,
yeah. And just think of what they could have done. This is so sad. What they could have done if Eddie was still around during this time. I don't think Eddie'd be working, but just having him be part of this storyline of the Guerreros and the Mysterios. It'd just be so great. But no, Dominic is really killing it, and I'm really happy for him. And I'm sure his dad Ray is proud. I'm sure he's very proud of him. It is hard though to see when they square off against one another, because everybody loves Ray. Everybody loves him, and it's hard for me seeing Ray get older because he's having it just feels like they don't. I don't know. It just feels like they don't know what to do with him now either. In the WWE, maybe because of his age, but because he just did turn 45, I believe. So,
yeah, I mean, he still can put on good matches in the ring. You can tell he's slowing down, but I mean, if I could do half of what he does at that age, I would. It would be great because I know I probably couldn't.
I can tell you this: as a big man, when I'm in that ring, I can take a Hurricane Rana pretty fluently, and I can take a head scissors pretty fluently too. It just I cannot give either of those moves. I for the life of me. If I try to give someone a Hurricane Rana, I would power bomb or power drive myself before I got over. So, but no, yeah, just seeing those.
Yeah, Julius makes a good point. He lost to Ray, and he used it to get himself heat. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he is killing it. Jared says they should bring Vicky back in for the storyline at some point.
I don't want her ever to come back to. I think she needs to just appreciate the if there's any type of money coming from WWE from what Eddie did. I don't know. She needs to stay off TV though.
And we're kind of talking about it here. Is the Judgment Day story quickly becoming one of the it should be, I typed that wrong, is becoming one of the best stories in the WWE. I mean,
it's staying popular, and it's also, so here's the thing: Bloodline storyline. I don't know. It feels like it's kind of stalling a little bit, in my opinion. That's just me. I think it's the hottest storyline in wrestling in the last,
the last.
Staying consistent, because like they're ruling the shows. Like the other night, it was the heels last night that went over and stood tall. They injured KO. Supposedly KO's got a fractured rib that he's been working through, and God, I can't believe it that Dominic picked up the win over Sami Zayn. That's a big win for him.
Yeah,
he picked up the win from a guy who took on Roman Reigns like 4 or 5 months ago in the main event of a pay-per-view. So that's a big win.
Yeah,
I don't think. Sammy has not been the heavyweight champion yet. I don't think he's been world champion yet.
No, he has not.
So,
yeah, and apparently Kevin Owens is working through an injury. There's quite a few people that are still
banged up. Seth is really banged up. And I heard KO's dealing with his injury. Who else has got some stuff going on?
Liv has got a shoulder injury again. There's a lot of people banged up right now, but they're making it work. So they're gonna get through SummerSlam and they'll go from there. It's great. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. I don't have any specific Ring of Honor questions. Did you get a chance to watch the show? I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but
yeah, like my big thing is, like I said, like they're making Samoa Joe, he's reigning terror with the Claudio.
Yeah, and
is a world champion compared to guys like Roman and Seth and MJF. It just doesn't feel like he's part of that group. I don't know.
And Joe wasn't even supposed to be at Death Before Dishonor because he had himself scheduled for one of the Comic Cons, but once people started pulling out he decided that he wasn't going to go there either, and so he pulled out and they put him on the show. So I mean,
he's supposed to be at the Comic Cons because he's playing that Sweet Tooth character on the Twisted Metal show. So that's going to be interesting to see. Supposedly, it's not his voice whatsoever they're using in the show. They're using his body. Yeah. So, but no, Ring of Honor. I just it's hard to follow. Like they don't really you got to have that Fight app, to really be following Ring of Honor. And sometimes I feel like it's an afterthought between all these promotions, and I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, Jared says that seems like ROH is getting pushed to the side.
Yeah,
and nobody's really talking about them. And the only time I really talk about them is right before one of their pay-per-views. But the pay-per-views always end up being pretty decent front to back. So
they're having solid pay-per-views, but it seems like there's no marketing there that they're using really well for Ring of Honor. It just.
Renee reminding everyone that we need to wash our hands. I don't know what.
So,
but yeah, but Ring of Honor, maybe it is AEW's back burner, but I mean,
Yeah, they fill AEW with like if someone's missing, like because a couple weeks ago on Collision, they are using a lot of guys. They're cross branding one another, and bringing in Claudio for the Blackpool Combat Club, bringing in Joe to have that 6-man tag with Juice Robinson, Jay White against FTR and CM Punk. So, it's just kind of I don't know. It feels like Ring of Honor is there to be used as reserves.
And while Ray's in the house or Renee's in the house, I want to show him something of a local show that's come here to St. Louis. We got Glory Pro this Sunday. I gotta find it. And one of Renee's favorite people, I believe, is going to be part of the show. We got Glory Pro presents Animo, and Ray Phoenix is going to be in St. Louis this week. So I know Ray Phoenix is one of Renee's favorite people, favorite wrestlers. So I'm going to just give a shout out to Glory Pro for bringing in Ray Phoenix to. I knew that would get his attention.
Both Defy Wrestling is going to have Masato Tanaka.
No, Anarchy.
No. Defy is bringing him in as well, and
yes.
doing a Tacoma show.
Yes, there's I believe there's 3 or 4 different promotions bringing them. Anarchy's one of them here in St. Louis, and there's a couple other ones.
He's a legend, so
we got Big Jim. We got Big Jim in the house. We spent some time with him this weekend as well.
The Classics champion of SICW has given us some props here. I appreciate that. Yeah, we had a good time, and it seems like we're going all over the place. I think we're all a little weary from coming right back to work. Well, no, you've had vacation.
No, I'm on my second week of vacation, so I had to take 2 weeks off of work. So but my brain is still kind of scrambled. So
yeah, it seems like a lot went on. It didn't feel like 4 or 5 days of us being together because it seemed like it went by really fast. But no, yeah, I'm looking for. We got a lot.
Jared's going to be at the show booing Ray.
just for Renee.
And for bonus 5 points, what does animo mean? I want to say it probably means anime, but I honestly don't know.
Amino acids?
Amino. No, that would be AMINO.
Well, I don't know.
And I guess this was for you. He sent you some pics.
Yeah, he did. So, guys, if a lot of people don't know on here, I'm a semi-retired professional wrestler. I guess you could say that. What would you say, Wardell?
Yeah, I mean, you're not officially retired, but you're not active. Well, as far as I know, you're not active up there in the Washington area.
And Big Jim Hofarth, Big Texan down at SICW, me and him worked years ago down at South Broadway. And when I bumped into him over the weekend, I told him I didn't have very many pics or videos of my career whatsoever. And he found pics from our bout down at Broadway. And I can tell you this, I think I had my first concussion because of myself when he chokeslammed me. When he picked me up for a chokeslam, I jumped as high as I could for him because I didn't want him thinking he had to pick up a lot of weight. And somehow I landed on I tiger drived myself from a chokeslam. And I stood up, and I know I was speaking gibberish to Jim, telling him we probably should take it home. But I don't think I was speaking English when I stood up. So, but he took care of me, made sure we got through the rest of the match. And he's always been a good guy to me. And I always have had a lot of respect for him. And I appreciate a lot of the boys I've came up through the business with. I got to see Gary Jackson, Night Train Gary Jackson in Iowa as well, and Herb Simmons. And you and Luke treat me good. So
can we just agree that Night Train Gary Jackson looks the exact same now as he did when I first met him back in the late 90s?
Yeah, he's taking good care of himself. So
Renee saying Big Tex is the man. Cross paths at the CAC in Vegas.
Yeah, Big Tex is the man. He's a man of the people. He's always kind of people. I see people come up to him and stuff, and he gives them the time of day. He's a heavyweight champion. He doesn't big league anybody. He's always giving them, he always is there to talk with people, sign autographs, take pictures. you know.
He was a part of that battle royal we're going to talk about later on.
Oh
in the show.
yeah.
Jim might actually have the answer here. Gary Jackson is indeed a vampire.
Well,
I mean, I still remember watching something on TV, and I see the video come up every once in a while. Gary Jackson works as a enhancement talent for WWE and took a razor's edge, and the way he fell, he spit almost like he was spitting on top of his head. So it was it's
because the man knows how to work. So
yeah, he's good. It was a good trip. We're gonna talk about that here in just a little bit. That's all the questions I had for High Spots. Do you have anything else in the wrestling world you want to talk about that maybe I missed? Because my brain's been kind of scrambled for the last few days trying to get back into being here at home. And I will tell you that on Sunday when I got home, I slept like a baby that night. I was probably in bed by like 8 or 9 o'clock, and I slept like an absolute baby that night. I was like, I didn't have to worry about any weird sounds in the rooms, but yeah, I slept really good.
I don't know if you noticed, I'm like
yeah, you're freezing.
I like to stay up late.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh yeah, you're definitely a nocturnal beast. You readily admitted to us that if Desiree didn't have anything planned, you would
sleep all day.
You would sleep all day on the weekends. I know you have to get up for work for your day job, but
yeah, and it's kind of hard because I stay up to like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes, and I have to be up at 8 to get here on at a decent hour.
Because you said you live 45 minutes away from
on a good day, like 25 minutes. Traffic's about 40, 45. But it's just, I love staying up late. I like watching old videos, pro wrestling videos, stuff from Japan and stuff. And
you ever just go down a random rabbit hole on YouTube? Because you can find everything on YouTube, and
you can find. You know what? You're gonna think I'm weird, but you can find some really, really like stuff that shouldn't be on like YouTube or Instagram, like violent stuff. I don't know. I'm a weirdo. I should. It's just like I'm not going to get into it because we want to keep this pseudo family friendly. But you can get into some real dark stuff on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter. It's called doom scrolling. I guess that's what they call it. But yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, it's really good. I've watched old like promos from back, the promos I remember from back in the day. Julius wants us to answer a question. What's going on with Nikita Lyons? She was fun to watch as a new. She is actually injured right now.
Yeah, she messed up ACL, I believe.
Yeah, she fell victim in the world's most dangerous place, the NXT parking lot, where everyone seems to get attacked at. So, Jim said he picked up 3 wrestling DVDs from Portland for $2. So, Big Jin's living the best life.
There's some good stuff from old school Portland Championship Wrestling. That's where Len Denton, the grappler, did his time for a while towards the end of his career. Piper, Billy Jack Hayes. So, there's a lot of history.
Actually, for Christmas this year, Luke got me the grappler book. So. Yeah,
I was supposed to get it as well. It never came, and I went ahead and just purchased it. It's a good read.
It's good, yeah. Jay Way is right. It can be a slippery slope talking about YouTube, going down the YouTube rabbit hole. Because if you go down a certain rabbit hole, you're kind of like, what the frick did I just watch?
Did I just watch a killing? No, I'm kidding.
But I guess we're gonna keep this show moving. We don't really have a set time tonight because we do not have a second hour guest this week. But we're gonna talk about our Iowa trip, and Luke Roberts is going to join us in a little bit too. So I'm hoping he's backstage, but his camera isn't on, so I'm hoping that he's sitting there. Oh, there he is. He's sitting there. Is our FWWC segment. Did I load that? No, let me load that real quick. While we're bringing him on, we're gonna bring on the ladies and gentlemen. He is the CEO, the one and only Dewan Mills. The CEO, Dewan Mills.
Hey, Dewan.
What's going
DeJuan,
on?
good to see you. You looks like you're outside on a beautiful day.
Not quite. It is kind of a beautiful day, but I'm actually doing something while I'm listening to the show.
Look at that. Ooh, that looks good. What you got? Just chicken?
Just chicken, sir. Cooking for the kiddos. You know how I do, man.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on the wrestling world right now, or the regular wrestling world? You got any thoughts?
Yes, I do.
Let them fly. Tell us what you feel.
I had an epiphany. Now, for the longest, I've been having this rant about Cody Rhodes and, why did they bring him up and his storyline and why is he fighting Brock Lesnar 5 times and why is he fighting Dom Mysterio, yada, yada, yada. It finally made sense after Money in the Bank. Now, let's think about it. If Cody would have won the belt from Roman at WrestleMania, then we never would have had this amazing closing to the Bloodline story. This Bloodline story ending absolutely had to happen. Like, from the Money in the Bank to the tribal trial to whatever else the hell's been going on, the closing of this Bloodline story has been great. Now, it does suck they're not going to put the belt on Jay. I'm sorry. Don't get your hopes up. If you think Roman's going to give up that belt to Jay, you're sadly mistaken. I apologize. He's going to be carrying. He's going to be now. Hold on. Give me a thought.
Okay.
What's up, Jay?
Okay.
Talk to me.
No, I was just going to say, I believe they want Roman to break Bruno's record, but they're not going to do it straight. So maybe someone like Jay takes it from him for a short bit, and then Roman gets it back, and then that's how he breaks Bruno's record. That's just my thought.
I don't know. I have no idea. Gotta love the nighttime sounds. But yeah, though, it finally made sense to me because if you've been paying attention to this Bloodline storyline, man, not only has it been captivating, it has kept the attention of millions upon millions of WWE fans and wrestling fans worldwide. So yes, it finally makes sense. Now, does that mean Cody is not going to get his opportunity? Maybe down the line. But the Bloodline story, the telling and the completion was way more important than Cody winning the belt. That's just my fine. I finally had that opinion last week.
If you heard us talking when we were talking about the Bloodline, the legendary Les Thatcher was on a panel and said that the Bloodline story has been the best story the WWE has told in a very long time, and it keeps him, who's been in the wrestling business for a long ass time, captivated and tuning in every Monday and Friday. So
Lord, got stuff on my head.
I was like, yeah, it looks like you're being attacked or something.
I know, man. I'm outside and excuse some shit.
But you're cooking chicken for the kids, so you're all good. Did you get a chance to watch the Blood and Guts match in AEW? Do you watch much AEW?
I did not get an opportunity to watch that, unfortunately, no, sir.
Are you looking forward to SummerSlam?
Yes, I am. There are a couple of matches. It was kind of funny. I heard you talking about it earlier, as it relates to the Judgment Day. I think the Judgment Day is going to be the next big storyline going out of, going into the WWE. I think those guys have a story to tell. I think it's going to be really important how they do that. So I think, this whole Damian Priest holding the briefcase, this whole deal between Finn Balor and Seth, which I don't see Seth losing. I'm sorry. I get it. I understand it. But I think Seth is going to hold on to that belt just a little bit longer, just a tad bit longer. If they do if Finn wins, Damian Priest will cash in. That's simple. Just got to keep it going.
Yeah, I believe that too.
Hell yeah. That's just my personal opinion. Brock and Cody is going to be pretty decent, but I am excited for Roman and Jay. I am excited for that. However, I don't see Jay winning. I just don't. I think Roman still has a lot more to go out, and I don't know who the hell he's going to lose, so I have no idea.
Yeah. What type of match do you think Cody and Brock is going to be? Do you think it's going to be – I just like to get everyone's opinion on that. So
Steel cage. It got to be something. Either it got to be something that's going to be violent. It's got to be something that's going to be brutal. It's definitely going to be no holds barred regardless. It will be a violent match, and there should be some color. I'm just going to keep it 100.
Yeah, but the WWE doesn't do the. We were talking. That was one of our topics on the way. It was either in the hotel room or on the way back from Iowa. And we were talking about the use of color in wrestling. The AEW uses it too much, and the WWE doesn't use it at all. But it's meant to be used at the right time. Like when they beat down Jimmy Uso a couple weeks ago. that would have been the time to use color. You know,
Right.
You didn't have to like get like a crimson mask or anything, but just get the color on there just enough that you can see it on TV, and it just it would have fit perfectly watching Jay be handcuffed.
Yep.
And doing that to him face to face. So, but it is what it is. You can't really determine what the WWE is going to do. So that's my opinion. I don't know how Justin feels about the use of color.
Oh, I believe it should. It's like if it's.
He's been freezing a little bit so
he froze a little bit.
Yeah.
He didn't have a stroke, did he? Is he good?
No.
No, we do. I like the use of color when it's justified. Like, I think it'd be perfect. Between Cody and Brock. If it ends justify the means. When Triple H and Batista had their 3-match feud at Mania, Backlash, and what was it? They dropped when they changed Vengeance, when they had the Hell in the Cell at Vengeance. They beat the hell out of each other, and they both were bleeding. When it means something, I don't mind it. But if it's just like all the time, it's kind of rough.
Yeah. And sometimes it gets really uncomfortable to watch. So
it does.
I'm not completely against blood, but there's sometimes that they like Moxley just. I mean, Moxley's head has to be hamburger at this point. I mean, he's gonna have one of those heads where you just kind of flick it and it starts to bleed. So
it's gonna look like Abdul the Butcher's forehead.
Right, exactly. And Dusty's forehead looked like that too for a while. But Dewan, you know why you're on here? You're on here because you are the CEO and the head of the FWWC, and you got another event coming up here in the next couple of days. I'm gonna throw the event poster on this is where Mills shines here. So I'm gonna throw it up here on the screen. You can tell us a little bit about it. It's
so here's the deal, folks.
Friday Night Fights.
As you know, we are a couple weeks away from WWE SummerSlam, which also puts us a couple of weeks away, or just under a couple weeks, from FWWC SummerSlam. Gotta get my words together. But before we get into that, this will be our last week of challenges because we do not do challenges on the week of the pay-per-views. We use that to promote our matches, build our storyline, so forth and so on. So this will be the last challenge before the actual FWWC SummerSlam event. This Friday, it will be our current champions, the Prophets of Madness, our current FWC Tag Team Champions, going against Sick and Lecter. Lecter being our FWWC International Champion. Thanks for delivering that belt back. Really needed it. And also going against House Mafia in a triple threat tag team turmoil match this Friday. We know that at FWWC SummerSlam, it will be the Prophets of Madness defending their belts against Sick and Lecter. But before we get to that, we're going to have ourselves a little triple threat tassel, baby. POM, Sick and Lecter, and House Mafia are going to go down this Friday. And then after that, we will be on the road to FWWC SummerSlam. And this Thursday, we're going to have our go-home show for FED Bash at the Beach. How long? The American Bash at the Beach. I don't know who named that, but we got it. But make sure you tune in.
Aren't you in charge of that? Did you name it?
Well, no. Here's the thing. We have two different deals. We have our main roster and we have our FED, which is our developmental roster. Those are for the newbies and some of the, you know how WWE does.
Yeah, kind of like an NXT.
Yes, which I love Baron Corbin and NXT. Thank God they did that. I love the attitude. I miss the Lone Wolf. Amazing idea. So same concept with us. Sometimes the old guys go back and help the new guys. It's all a family. It's all a help. So this Thursday, that will be the go home show for that. But until then, this Friday, it's going to be going down, baby. Triple threat tag team turmoil, Prophets of Madness, Sick and Lecter, and Hoss Mafia. That's what I got, boys. Yeah.
Oh, Dewan, I bet you're ready to go eat you some of that chicken that you.
I am. I got to get to the grill because the shit's burning up.
All right,
burn it.
Dewan, it was good to see you again. We'll hope to see you again next week. Talk to you soon.
All right, man. Let's get it.
All right, peace out, brother. All right, bye. All right. Well, he's always full of energy. But that I'm not gonna straight up not gonna lie. That chicken looked really darn good.
It looked very tasty. I love grilled chicken.
We know that you Hey, I like I prefer chicken over red meat anyway, so that's just me. So yeah, Jared's right. I almost went off on him. Don't say Corbin around me because I am not a fan of Baron Corbin. I think he's boring, and so we will just leave it at that. So Justin, are you having a good time so far?
Always. I always have a good time on here. I'm a little tired, but like I said, it's been already a long week for me. So.
Just trying to get our bodies reacquainted to everything, because we kind of had some weird schedules for a couple of days. But we got someone waiting in our green room enjoying our M&Ms and stuff.
Accoutrements.
It's a one and only. It's our time for our Snippets of Truth segment. So let me be the one to happily introduce to you the one and only Big Daddy P. If that doesn't get the blood pumping, I don't know what does.
It does.
Big Daddy P.
Absolutely right. How we doing, bros?
Fine.
Good. How are you, brother?
Me and Justin a little tired. We were on the road this past week. We went to the Trego Stez National Wrestling Hall of Fame induction ceremony in Waterloo, Iowa, with Luke Roberts and Jeremy Karp. It was a long, but it was a fun weekend. And we made it to and from safely, and that's all we can ask for.
Hey, everybody made it, man. I mean, listen, there are a lot of people right now who are driving on their way home who think they're going to make it. But they're going to be face-to-face with the Lord. Their work's going to be done. So the fact that we woke up today is definitely a gift. My snippet of truths today, I think, is something that is going to shock a lot of people because there are a lot of versions of truth out there. You've got a lot of religions that think theirs is the truth, but I think it's pretty clear to acknowledge that there's only one person who said, I am the truth, and that is Jesus Christ. So the truth that I have to share today is a truth that, one, if you look at all the religious books that have ever existed in history, the Bible is the only one called the Word of God. Every other book is a word according to someone else. And those someone else's, they're all dead. Christ is still alive. We're waiting for him to come back. So while I'm waiting, I have to learn to be patient. And it's difficult because life hurts. Life hits hard sometimes. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you don't know how to handle it. But if you ever want to see, especially for Wrestle Talk people, if you want to see how faithful and loving God is, look at Sonny. Look at his attitude. He's picking up in one of the hardest times of his life, but he is picking up and staying strong, and he's moving on with life. You cannot stop when things happen, especially what he went through, because the enemy wants you to stop. What's up there, Cairo? How you doing, brother? So just know that if you are a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ, if you've ever put your faith and trust in him, don't let all this stuff going on in the world confuse you. Of course it's chaos. The enemy's running it. Remember, back in early biblical times before man was created, he said that he thought he could do a better job than God. So God said, fine, the earth is yours. Have fun. How do you think he's doing?
He's winning.
God still works within it, right? Mm-hmm. Because God has authority. If the Lord didn't have authority, then Job would have been history. But the fact that Satan couldn't even kill Job, even God asked him, have you considered Job? And immediately the answer to that question, what Satan said was, I can't touch him. You're protecting him. The only reason why he loves you is because you bless him. You take away his blessing, he'll curse your name. You go through the whole book of Job. Not one time did Job blame Satan. He said God, because he knew who's in control. It's the Lord. So whatever you're going through, rest, relax, and know that he is in control. Now, I heard the conversation about chicken, and I heard the conversation about some other. Where's the chicken? You got me so excited. My wife made up. We have been really hooked on chicken tenders lately. Cutting up pieces of chicken, putting them in flour, and then an egg, then back in flour. And she got a special flour that doesn't have as much wheat and carbs as, because I've got to limit what I can eat. But when the moment you guys started mentioning chicken, and then you mentioned beef too. I love food. So look at this. Look.
Wow.
This is Peas in the house.
Look at this, brother.
What a beautiful looking meal.
I am so Big Daddy P is so blessed.
Yes, you are. That's a fabulous looking meal.
I'll make sure that while I'm doing this, that I don't eat any of it.
It looks really good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's obvious that I'm not very skinny. So
hey, don't worry. We all like some good food around here. So I mean,
we do. But I just want to encourage everybody today to not lose hope, and that as believers, we have a responsibility not just to wait for the Lord to come back, but to actually reach out and love those who he brings us. And every week, you guys pour love on people all week. And I just have to tell you that being a part of Wrestle Talk is a privilege. It is an honor. It isn't something that I take lightly. I look forward to Tuesdays because I always know there are two things that take place on Tuesdays: NXT and Wrestle Talk.
There you go.
And Big Daddy P, I want to show you something. One of the speaking about what Sonny's been going through, one of the local promotions in the Kansas City area, Central States Wrestling, is doing something pretty special for Sonny's son. Let me pull it up here real quick. Yeah, they have a show this Saturday night. And they're doing a Nick Vincent Mayo memorial match in his honor. It's with the Hollits and Greg Jovi's Miracle Violence Reborn, and I think that's a really cool thing for Central States to do. This group also before his son had surgery, posted a video, a get well video from some of the wrestlers. They put it together and put it on their Facebook page, and for Nick to get better and to pull through and to get better on the other side, because they'll be seeing him at the matches. Unfortunately, we know what happened, but they're putting on a memorial match for him. And I just thought that was really cool for a local promotion to do that. You don't see that too often, and maybe we should see a little bit more of it, because I mean that's kind of what we need.
You haven't been to Tennessee, have you? Man, every time they can have a memorial, they do. It's amazing how Middle Tennessee and even East or West Tennessee, they have wrestling promotions are known out here for doing memorials, benefits. That's what I love about this business, man, is the love and care for the community. Can anybody deny the amount of love that the WWE has given to every community they visit? I mean, that's what makes wrestling isn't just wrestling either, And that's why I love being a part of it, because there is love within the business. Sure, you have bad apples in every scenario, but overall, man, wrestlers, promoters, they do a pretty good job on caring for one another. I mean, the promoter's responsibility is to provide an income for these wrestlers. And if you don't have those seats filled, you can't pay them. So the overall idea of putting on a wrestling show, I think, is awesome, because it gives guys a place to work, Has there been any recent injuries that we need to add to the prayer list?
Not that I know of it locally. But I think we should add Central States to our prayer in a good way for what they're doing for Sonny and his son Nick. I think it's one of the most awesome things I've seen in a long time. So
well, and watch the promotion, because the Lord is faithful when he searches to and fro throughout the earth for those who support him. So when you go and you go beyond, matter of fact, just the last couple of weeks, I've been teaching a sermon series called Fervently Love One Another. It's not just loving one another. I love you, I love you, I love you, but really going out of your way to love people, because it's really difficult to love people today because people are just a pain in the ass, man. They're miserable, they're whiny, they're complaining, they're selfish. But anytime you see an opportunity that you can bless somebody, do it, because that might be the only love they ever see of the Lord. You know what I mean? We had a group of 2 people in line today at the store who they got all the way through all their goods, but there was about 3 or 4 things. And these were items like sandwich meat, things that you know they need. And they were like $15 short. I didn't know how much was short. I didn't care. I immediately said to Jamie, I said, Jamie, take care of that. Because I've been there before, man. How many times, Jamie, have we been in line that we had to return things? And people have blessed me throughout. 20 times in my life while I've been in line, someone stopped and cared enough to say, even the lady at the liquor store today, I had to go buy some cigars today. I had to because it was payday and Mrs. Hartman wanted to bless me, so I took it. Because I've had to not really have those because that's one of those optional purchases, you know what I mean? Outside of gas, food, and your bills. So we're in line, and the lady in front of us, there was a gentleman that was in line, and he didn't have enough money for what he wanted to buy, and she went and helped him out. He was so thankful. And so I immediately, and that's why that came in my mind. Again, we got to continue to care for people, man. I know that when lawlessness exists, the heart grows colder, but we got to live past that. Love is a verb. So my snippet of truth today, outside of the truth only being the truth, there is no other truth. And while everybody's arguing about Catholics, Mormons, if they put their faith in Christ, eternal life is theirs. Whether you call them a Catholic or not, love thy neighbor. Exactly. I mean, that's just what we're really missing today in this world, especially in bigger cities, you know, with all the violence and the homelessness and everything that's going on. And, you know, and you've got thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who have lost their homes due to the financial part of the world, who are homeless, who have no place to go. So all they're doing, like there was a guy on Facebook today, a Christian brother of mine, who was at the park. And he said there were some people snorting up stuff in front of him. And they were obviously hurting. That's why they were doing that. And I asked him, I said, wow, what an opportunity to share the gospel. He said, well, I had my pregnant wife with me and I was afraid that maybe somebody would get hurt. And I shook my head. I'm like, man, don't be afraid. So I just wrote, maybe the next one after will help him, you know, but we have opportunities in front of us every day that we can love one another and look, if it wasn't for God strengthening my family. Hey, love you, Sonny. You're absolutely right, dude. I don't doubt that one bit, but you're right. God has strengthened your family. And a lot of times things like this happen because he wants to bring us together. A lot of families who are living apart or separately or fighting all the time, sometimes God will use passing of somebody to bring everybody together. And at first it's scary and it doesn't look good. But when you look back at the situation, you go, aha, now I see why that happened. So we got to continue to love one another. We got to continue to encourage one another because life is just too darn short. And if you want to get back at all the mean people, just be nice to them. Yep. And that always takes care of it. Somebody who flips you off, somebody who starts screaming or yelling at you. Yes, it would be really easy for Big Daddy Pete to choke slam him. Sure it would. Wouldn't take long at all, or maybe choke him out. But I always know that if I do that, they will hear the gospel before they stop breathing. I promise. In the meantime, if we cannot get to that point, I don't suggest getting, because once they start turning purple, you've got about a 10-second window to play with. And it,
and 40 seconds, but it's when you start from the start of choking them until there it could be bad. So.
Yeah, and if they can't think, okay, Lord, I'm scared, I want to be with you, then you've completely defeated the whole purpose. So before getting to that point, just take a moment and ask them, why are you so angry? What's bothering you? And it's going to blow their mind that one, you care, two, that they're trying to mess with you, and you're not responding, because all they want is fear and whatever it is that they want. So ultimately, we have an opportunity in every area of our life, in every avenue. And remember, you are where you are because that's where he wants you to be. Otherwise, you'd be somewhere else, right? Exactly. I mean, he's God. We're not. So the fact that we know these truths, the fact that we can share these truths, I want to encourage you today to just keep sharing, keep loving, because eventually what's going to happen is he is going to return. And when he does, we're out of here. And it could happen during this episode where all of a sudden, poof, we're gone and no one's there to run the show. Don't worry about it. Let God worry about it. But in the meantime, keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop doing what you're doing, because whether you know it or not, you are making a difference in this world. And whether if you're talking about wrestling or you're talking about life or anything, every day we have an opportunity to make a difference. And it starts with our attitude. So just keep on keeping on. If you've never accepted Christ as Savior and you're waiting for that special moment, don't wait. It's a free gift. You can't work for it. The reason why is because you can't. I mean, how can you lose something that you didn't earn to begin with? He paid the ultimate price. All you have to do is receive it by faith. And by that simple movement alone, you now are in the family of God. And now you can begin to be used by him to help influence the world. So many things on Facebook and groups lately about losing your salvation and taking advantage of grace. The fact is salvation is different from sanctification. Sanctification, and as you grow, the thief on the cross didn't have time to be sanctified. He looked over and said, Lord, remember me. And the Lord looked at him and said, today you'll be with me in paradise. No church, no baptism, no giving, no nothing. And that is your snippet of truth, because these chickens smell so good that I almost choked earlier.
That was a beautiful plate. I like was that broccoli on the plate?
Actually, what's a broccoli salad? It's broccoli salad.
Yeah, it looks. What I do is when I want to eat a little healthier, instead of having a baked potato, I'll make loaded broccoli. So I'll put the broccoli with some cheddar cheese and some sour cream and a little salt and pepper. And instead of, but no, that looks really good, Perry.
Sweet potato. Hey, listen, sweet potatoes. Like you can have potatoes sometimes, just not every day.
Yeah.
But sweet potatoes are actually they don't have any carbs at all. They're actually very good for you. So
my problem with sweet potatoes is because they taste sweet, that kickstarts my sweet tooth. So I got to be careful. I'm serious. I try to be good, and it's hard.
I get it.
And you brought up that you went out and bought you some cigars. Our own Justin Wade is a cigar kind of connoisseur. He likes
Don Diego, baby, Don Diego.
Ashton.
I like the small ones and the ones from the Dominican Republic. They're lighter in color because they're smoother. And I don't inhale. Okay.
No, you don't inhale. You don't have to. Yeah, with cigars.
I just love the taste that lingers in my mouth. And, there are a lot of people that because I'm a Christian, they say that I'm sinning because I'm smoking a cigar. Let me tell you something. When I accepted Christ as Savior, he accepted me for where I was at. Now, do I know that this can cause me cancer and kill me? Sure. Have you drinking the public water lately? There isn't many places you can go where you can't take in our food, our processed food. It's killing us faster than anything, let alone all the you hear about LeBron James' son?
I did hear about it. Yeah, he
cardiac arrest, dude. I bet he got the vaccine, but we can't go there because people get all jacked up and messed up. But we are in a crazy world, and just keep going and don't stop, man, because whether if you know it or not, and I've said this illustration many times about the starfish, we might not save them all, but one at a time, we can be an encouragement and lift somebody up. Because you never know. Let me tell you, about 14 years ago, I went to Zimbabwe. And that was I've been to Africa 4 times for pastors' conferences, by God's grace. And when I was there, I met a gentleman who I became close with on Facebook. 14 years later, we come back there for a conference this last couple weeks. And I sent him a flyer and he went. And he went, and he didn't realize that after all those years, how we first met, but the fact that we were 8,000 miles away and met on Facebook and then met in person. And then he watched my Facebook page over all the years and has been encouraged. Now he's encouraging other people, and the people that he's encouraging are going to start encouraging other people. You can't stop love. You can't. Love covers a multitude of sins. That's why it says that. Love, if you, as I stated earlier, if you ever want to make a mad person madder, love them. Because they don't know love. All they know is hate. So we can't blame them. That's why Jesus said, forgive them, for they do not know. They don't realize they've never been shown the love. So if you can show the love to somebody, you might be the only one that ever shows it to them. Because again, we live in a very selfish world. So we just have to keep going, keep on encouraging. I keep smelling that chicken. That is just wrong, man.
Well, Big Daddy P, we're gonna let you get to your chicken, but it wouldn't be a Tuesday night if you didn't send us out a little bit of prayer. So
of course, always. And Sonny, keep going, brother. I'm so proud of you, Sonny. You're gonna run into somebody who's gonna go through what you went through, and you're gonna be able to look at them. You're gonna be able to say, "I know how you feel," and they're gonna believe you, man. So use it for God's glory. Continue to honor Him, and you will be honored. Father God, thank you so much for this chicken, for Mrs. Hartman, for the Wrestle Talk podcast. Thank you for continuing to show me and those that I know who believe what love is really all about. And may we continue to share it. Father, you know all those that are out there that are watching right now that are hurting, that are suffering. Father, I pray that you answer their prayers. I know that you don't seek perfection. You search to and fro throughout the earth for those who have a heart for you. And Father, there are those who don't know you. Maybe they've heard about you, but they've never tried you themselves. And I just pray right now, Father, by the power of the Holy Spirit, that you would encourage them to try you, to test you, to have them bring a bill to you or a health issue to you. And then they can sit back and watch for themselves. Many times, Father, we read the word and we know what you say, but until we actually experience what you're able to do we truly believe and know not only that you're real, but you love us so much. You never send anyone to hell. You give them a choice. You offer them a free gift of eternal life, and they reject it. But people don't realize that. They think that you're sending them there, but you don't. Man, your grace is sufficient. You could have quit on me. You could have given up on me. All the way until the age of 31, I finally turned it over to you and said, I'm done trying to make things work. I'm going to trust you. But I said, Lord, you better be real. And have you not only shown yourself and showed off and showed out every time? I also thank you for the prayers that were not answered, that could have hurt me. You are also king over those too. So even though things don't go our way and you might not be a genie that we can rub 24/7, I never get a voicemail when I call upon you. I never get a busy signal. You're always ready to hear my petitions because I do it with an attitude of thanksgiving. And that's what offering is all about, Lord. It's not about money. It's about showing gratitude for what you've done for us. And so for those that are encouraged tonight, I pray that you continue to stretch their boundaries, that you continue to bring people to them. I thank you for Renee and Joe and all the guys here at Wrestle Talk and all those that are behind the scenes. We know that you have put together this team for your plan and for your purpose and for your glory. And I thank you for the wrestlers, Father, all around the world that are injured right now, that can't do what they love to do. We pray that you continue to show your love to them, take care of their bills. We just know that you're faithful, and I'm thankful that you continue to protect us and watch over us each and every day. I thank you again for Wrestle Talk, and I look forward to your return. I ask these things by the power of the Holy Spirit in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, in whose name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Oh,
Thank you again. I appreciate if I've never said it at least 20 times, thank you for allowing me to do this.
Oh,
I mean, it is such a privilege, man, to be able in our world today to be an encouragement, it's the greatest gift I've ever received. Outside of Mrs. Hartman, she really is a doozy.
And real quick before you go, I got NXT on. I'm looking in the corner of my eye. You're a big fan of the one guy in the family, the two Stacks.
He was on SmackDown Friday.
Yes.
I don't know. Don't tell me. I don't know what's going on tonight. I think they have a match against these two new guys I've never seen before.
Yeah,
but
they were doing a tag match.
They're getting there, and they're doing this. What's coming up Saturday? The
Great American Bash.
Yeah, they're wrestling for the belts. Man, nothing. I love to watch guys who started from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this kid, what people don't know is this kid, when he went to class at Pritchard's place, man, he worked hard, and he still goes back there for more training, even though he signed already. He still goes back to the classes, still talks to Dr. Tom, I'm sure. Ivy, who is another student of JPWA, is doing great. She's been on a lot. And there's so many more we are so blessed, guys, to have the talent that we do. And they're only getting better. I mean, they really.
And the NXT Women's Champion, Tiffany Stratton, she just improves every time I see her. I mean, she's got that classic mean girl look, and I enjoy watching her every week. So
and as much as they're forcing Dominic Mysterio down our throats, you know it.
You know why they're doing it, because it's a hot item right now. So I mean,
of course.
So
and Judgment Day.
Yeah.
I mean, poor Finn Balor, man. He's the last of the barrel, man.
We were that was one of our topics today, that at SummerSlam you almost have to have Finn Balor win, or else why is he the leader of the Judgment Day?
I don't know. I just know that with DVR, I'm able to get through Raw in about an hour. NXT about 20 minutes, SmackDown about 30 minutes. I've just seen the same old. I know it's just you can't have every match, can't be record-breaking matches, because you need to give other people an opportunity. I get that. I love Otis. I think Otis is just a gem. and I mean, really, we are in this generation of wrestlers. I mean, you got most of the people that all of us on this show right now, we grew up in a time where we had the Attitude Era, man. We had some of the baddest wrestlers, and we've had to get used to some of these new kids coming in, who have really taken over the business and done a good job. Did you guys happen to catch the documentary on ECW?
I have not yet. No.
When you get a chance, it goes much more deeper into the relationship between Heyman and Gilbert.
Mm-hmm.
That, man, I mean, again, ECW was a gem for their time.
Yes.
And so anyway, love you guys. Thank you so much.
Go eat that chicken before it gets too cold, and enjoy it. So we'll talk to you next week, okay, Perry?
We'll see you next week.
Until next time. All right, bye,
you guys. Take care.
All right, well, that's our Snippets of Truth segment with Big Daddy P. So much energy. And so we've had two guests in a row that have had chicken. Dwan had the chicken on the grill, and Perry had the chicken Justin looked like he wanted to dive through that screen and eat those chicken tenders.
Both segments, they had some good looking chicken.
So speaking of good looking chicken, let's bring on our broadcast colleague. We spent a little bit of time with him this weekend. We're gonna go over some things, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast, Luke Roberts. Let's hope we can hear him. Luke, can we hear you?
I don't know. Can you hear me, gentlemen?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Do you have chicken?
No. I can say this right now. Justin Wade is going to have a problem because I don't have chicken. I've got the chocolate cake shake.
Oh, Portillo's. Okay. All right. And good for you, brother. You got that chocolate cake shake?
And I'll put it right here, 32 ounces of chocolate cake shake. If you're anywhere in the state of Illinois and get to this particular restaurant, I'm not going to mention it because they're not my sponsor, but who knows? Maybe they could be a sponsor one day. One of the greatest things right here, a great chocolate cake shake. It's available. And again, I've been traveling the country, and you left something out, Chris. You left out, and we're going to talk about, before we even get to talking about it, we had the FWWC, we have Big Daddy P. We're going to have the HOF, the Hall of Fame, here in just a minute. But you got to give a shout out to Justin Wade, because remember when we were on that trip and he got that great chicken salad when we were at the wonderful world of Cracker Barrel. When we were on the road. That was some really good stuff. I mean, again, that was the start of a great week when it comes to professional wrestling, that being the Hall of Fame. And guys, I got to tell you, right now as it stands, literally 48 hours ago, we were all together. And now we're back together again live on the Wrestle Talk podcast.
And I'm going to break a little bit of breaking news here that this Sunday at the NXT Great American Bash, Gable Stevenson's going to have his first real match. He's going to wrestle Baron Corbin.
Ooh, that should be good.
And actually, to let you know, gentlemen, I'm also going to throw a little bit from watching earlier on as I was listening into the program. It has been signed and sealed. Triple threat match, NXT North American Championship. Dirty Dominic Mysterio taking on former champion Wes Lee and Mustafa Ali in a triple threat match at the Great American Bash as well. They're making a lot of huge news so close to the Great American Bash.
Justin, Jared weighs in that Waffle House is better than Cracker Barrel.
All I gotta say is it depends on what you want that day. You can go either way. Those places I'm not going to rank because they're at the tippy top of my favorite places to go.
And Justin is really mad because he can't get either one of those up in Seattle.
No,
so.
the Great Northwest sucks.
Yes,
I want to rant.
Why? Don't take Justin's stick.
What's that?
We didn't see a Waffle House.
There was one nearby, but we had so much going on. We had so much going on, food wise. I was like, let's not push this one. Maybe next trip.
Yeah, but you got your Cracker Barrel, you got your White Castles while you were in town.
Got my Casey's Pizza. God damn, that was good pizza.
It was a good weekend. So we went down to the Tragos Fez National Wrestling Hall of Fame, located at the National. What? Up. Sorry, up. Okay, social studies teacher. I don't need a geography lesson. We kind of started our trip by taking a little side trip going to visit the outside of the Black and the Brave Academy, where Tyler Black and who most people know as Seth Rollins and is it Merrick Brave?
Very good, very good. Like Brave's already been a former guest of the show. And here's the cool thing about the Black and Brave Academy. A lot of wrestling schools, they only go like 5 to 10, 6 to 10. We drove by, about 12:30 in the afternoon, right at the peak of lunchtime, and they were doing drills.
Yeah. It was kind of cool. It's kind of cool to see just to see where it was in Davenport, Iowa. But it was a good weekend. I think we can all say that maybe our brains are a little bit scrambled because we did so much. But yes, it was a good trip.
Most definitely, guys. And I'm going to tell you right now, as we look back at our trip to the Hall of Fame here, there's a lot of things that are going to be going on. Again, this was year 24. The 25th anniversary is going to be taking place next year. And I've heard from several reliable sources that it's going to be by far the greatest Hall of Fame induction yet to date. And I don't know how they're going to top 24, but 25 is supposed to already be better than 24. Like I said, we're going to look at some of the pictures and take that look back, a field trip, if you will, to the Wrestling Hall of Fame, the Dan Gable Museum. But tonight, we're going to see a lot of cool stuff in preparation for next year. Now, as you look right here, for those that are true wrestling fans, this is the WCW Hall of Fame, I guess we call it a trophy or a statue for the legendary Gordon Solie. Now, not only did we get to see this, but I'm going to tell you right now, and Chris, Justin, I'm going to throw this out there to you as well. How did it feel not only to see something like this for the man known as the Dean of Wrestling Announcers, but to actually meet Gordon Solie's son at the Hall of Fame?
I mean, I had a brief conversation with him, but he seems like a good guy, and he was giving away some stuff. So, I mean, he's keeping the legacy of his father alive.
Yeah, I remember back in the day on Sunday night, WCW Sunday's main event television station, they would have a classic bout that was hosted by Gordon Soley back in like '93. They would have a classic bout every Sunday, and he would be the one announcing it. So that's how I got my first taste of Gordon Soley. Now, did he get this award right here back at one of the Slamboree Legend reunion?
I believe so.
Pay-per-views.
I believe so, because there wasn't many WCW Hall of Fame induction. It doesn't have a year, 1995, so it would have been Slamboree 95. That May 21st of 95.
This was one of the greatest ones too, because the idea of where Gordon Soley had no clue he was going to get this. Dusty Rhodes kind of took over the award ceremony and surprised Gordon Soley with his induction into the Hall of Fame. And again, this was really cool to see this. And yes, we're going to see pictures later on too. That is a Hall of Fame jacket of the legendary Bret the Hitman Hart. That's right next to that trophy. Now, this right here was a plaque given to Championship Wrestling from Florida by a former president of the National Wrestling Alliance, well-known St. Louis professional wrestling personality, probably Sam Muchnick. Guys, I got to tell you right now, this gave me goosebumps. I've been all around the country over the last few weeks. A matter of fact, earlier this month, I had the opportunity to be in Orlando. And as you see right here, right in front of Gordon Soley's jacket, I'll tell you right now, this made me go back and really get me motivated to be starting to watch more of that Championship Wrestling from Florida that made this so important.
The one thing I remember from Gordon Soley was he called the word suplex. What did he say? Suplex.
Yeah.
As he always said, goodbye from the Sunshine State.
What were you going to ask me, Luke? You were about to ask me something, I believe.
You followed a lot of professional wrestling. Again, as you look at it here, how does it feel to be able to have such? I mean, we're going to look at other promotions too. But how does it feel to see such a variety? You see right here a bronze replica of Harley Race's boot, a man that I've had the opportunity, along with Chris, to actually be on events with, a man that you idolize, Justin. How does it feel to look at something that?
I told you my story about meeting Harley. Remember, I told you how I met him outside. He was smoking a cigarette. Hey, someone's Facebook page is on the screen right now.
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay.
I clicked the wrong button. Hold on.
I just wanted to make sure nothing private was being shown. That's the investigator in me, fellas. Anyways, yeah, I met Harley outside of one of his WLW shows. He was sitting on the trailer hitch after they had the ring inside, and he's smoking on a cigarette. I had with me a replica of the very first issue of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. They had Mil Mascaras and Dusty Rhodes on the cover. And I presented it to Harley, asking for an autograph, and he looks at it as he's taking a drag on a cigarette, and he goes, "This ain't the first issue, kid. I was on the first issue." And I just went, "Okay, thank you."
And I think one of the things that Justin liked the most was, if you see down there in the Luthez belt, championship belt.
Yeah, that the belt under the tag team straps right there. I know it's crazy that was actually a belt, but that was presented to him as his version of the NWA heavyweight title.
And one thing gentlemen, that I found very interesting too, and I know I actually called Justin's attention to it. If you look at all those side plates, and I mean, again, in comparison to today's wrestling belts, that thing is microscopic. But if you look at the side plates, all of the gem work, all the gems on those side plates were there. And that was the first real recognized heavyweight championship. And again, that other piece in there, as if the AWA tag titles weren't enough, was a belt buckle from the NWA as well, as you see there in that bottom left-hand corner. A lot of important stuff. And speaking of important stuff, right here, Scrap Daddy, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, his robe, the robe of the former 5-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion. I'm going to tell you right now, I had an opportunity, and Chris, you did too. And actually, I think, Justin, you did too. He wore this robe to the ring, defending the NWA World Heavyweight Championship back in, I believe it was 2012, for Dynamo Pro Wrestling against the Tokyo Monster Kahagas.
Toyoko Monster, you mean? I mean, Tokyo.
Hey, leave
I didn't
the
say it. I
wall.
didn't say it. That's some harsh stuff right there. Anyways, yeah, that was. I got to meet Adam Pearce that night, and he was very, very humble. Shook my hand. He didn't big league me. He treated me fair, and he was one of the more approachable wrestlers I've come across. So yeah, it just meeting him that night. It was actually my wife's. That first year we dated, that was her first ever like independent pro wrestling show, and so that was a good night meeting Adam Pearce.
Well, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, this picture here, if you just look at it, I mean, again, you've got a advertisement, pardon me here, of the wrestler. I believe that was back. I think they said it was in 52. You have a jacket from the legendary Larry the Axe Hennig. You have another jacket there. You have a 2x4 autographed by Hacksaw Jim Duggan. You have a cool New Japan jacket. You have the Mat of Honor signed by a large variety of professional wrestling greats. On the turnbuckle corner, you have a T-shirt and boots from the legendary Thunderbolt Patterson, who was in attendance. And if that wasn't enough, if you look right over the shoulder of that Thunderbolt Patterson T-shirt is a singlet from a man that you were just talking about a few minutes ago, Chris, Gable Steveson, all in one place. I mean, it's like literally 15, 20 feet apart. And you have such a huge amount of wrestling history right there. And again, another close-up of that great drawing, that great advertisement. Now, gentlemen, if you look here, this is a reproduction of a ticket for an event at Wrigley Field. Jack Dempsey as the referee. Think about it, an accomplished boxer back in the day, having the refereeing duties. And I actually had a friend of mine talking to our good friend, Rough Cut Rick Ruby on the Falls County Beer podcast, $4.25 for an upper box ticket.
I was just gonna bring up the price. I'm like, man, $4.25. That was
a lot back then, though, if you think about it.
Yes.
Very much so. But again, a lot. I believe that's also a bust of I believe it's Maurice Tillet over on the left side as well. Very well-known wrestler.
In the description, they said that's his actually sized head. So, yeah, one of the biggest heads I've ever seen. That's what she said.
Well, gentlemen, I'm just going to read the names here. You've got Dutch Mantel, Lou Thez, Bob Geigel, Harley Race, Danny Hodge, I do believe, Ole Anderson, Tom Andrews, and Vern Gagne. Oh, if this wrestling ring bell could talk.
It does. It goes ding.
He's got you there, Luke.
Now look at this one here. This is from the City Auditorium in Houston. It wasn't even Lou Thez. It was Louis Thez. And if you look at it here, you could get a ticket for this matchup for $1.
But that like Justin said, back in the day, that was expensive. That's just some more stuff from the. Do you remember?
These are some the day. We can go ahead and move on our field trip here. A nice painting here. I mean, again, that's one of those where. Hey, it's one of those, Chris. There's a lot of things in this Hall of Fame that a lot of wrestling fans would wish they would have. And again, this painting is really good. Some more robes here. Also, if you notice down the bottom, a Schomburg painting, I believe that was of Jack Briscoe, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion and WWE Hall of Famer. I was also there.
I clicked the wrong
button. Hey, Chris, are we going to have like a crash course in this technology thing? Because tonight the computer's been all over the place.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Like I said,
let me bring it. There we go. I have fat fingers. Right. I can't help it.
We've got more pictures here. An old copy of Sports Illustrated having a wrestler on the front cover. We talk a lot about when Hulk Hogan was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. This was many, many, many years before that, talking about the world of wrestling. on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
What bugs me about that is they claim that Hulk Hogan version was the very first issue with a pro wrestler on it. Why don't they won't acknowledge that? Yeah.
Exactly.
This is probably the funniest picture I saw all weekend with Garth Brooks in the middle right there, and then you got Kurt Angle right behind him.
I'm sorry, I don't refer to him as Garth Brooks. That's Chris Gaines to me. Okay. You guys remember that when he had that year where he was doing like trying to do like alternative music, and he had emo hair.
It was terrible.
It was very creepy.
I'm going to say this nicely. Let's move on.
Hey, look at that.
This is one of the many pictures of the Wrestle Talk podcast. We had an opportunity to talk with a lot of people. That is longtime professional wrestling personality Bill DeMott, known by some as Crash the Terminator over in Japan, the Laughing Man Hugh Morris, another name which he said in his own speech, and as well as the training seminar that they talked about, another name that he can't say in mixed company. But I mean, again, very humble man. Had an opportunity to talk with him. Great guy. I know he has done a lot of charity work in the last few years. And we're now back to looking at pictures from Facebook.
Shit, I hate doing it.
I'm glad there's nothing inappropriate.
No, would you think I'd look at anything inappropriate?
Your name's Big Sexy.
Shut up.
Okay, we're just going to leave that one alone, and we're just going to keep right on here. Hey. B, C, D, E.
By the way, we're not going to. Never mind. Let's get back to these pictures. Now, who is this gentleman, Rob?
You were talking to him a lot. I don't know if I don't remember his name.
He sounds just like you, by the way. I kept hearing him, Rob, and I thought it was you. And I turned around and it was this guy. Who is this guy, Rob?
He was a gentleman. He takes a lot of photographs at a lot of various events. I had an opportunity last year to meet him at the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion. And I'll be honest, Luke doesn't get out to socialize too much. I'm a very busy person with all the things I do. Had an opportunity to sit down and have a nice meal with this gentleman. And he is just a wealth of professional wrestling knowledge. And again, I'm hoping, fingers crossed here, I'm hoping that if I'm going to get to be able to go out to CAC this year, I'm hoping I'll get a chance to sit down and have some more food and talk wrestling. Now, real quick and simple, Tommy Richard to watch the Wrestle Talk podcast.
Speaking of CAC, I saw some picture, and CM Punk is going to be at CAC this year.
I believe he's receiving the Mazursky Award, which is one of the most important awards in the CAC. But you know what? I got to share this story. I know I shared it and with Chris when I was here. When I went to CAC last year, it was one of the nights we had gotten back to the Plaza Hotel. It was about 10 o'clock at night. And all of a sudden, I hear this guy kind of grumbling, kind of frustrated that the McDonald's in the Plaza Hotel messed up his order. And the end result was he turned around. It was Wildfire Tommy Rich. And we were sitting there, and the end result is it got about 30 minutes. It was myself and the Night Owl and our good friend from SICW, Herb Simmons, and I believe Dr. Drew Abenhouse was there. We got to talk to Tommy Rich and Mrs. Wildfire Tommy Rich. Great time was had. And again, having the opportunity to see him again at the Hall of Fame really was great. A lot of interaction with the fans. And now this picture right here, for those that, and again, Justin has to actually bring this up here. We watched before we left to go to the Hall of Fame. Literally what, Justin, 12 hours before we left? We watched WWE Most Valued Treasures or Lost Treasures, whatever they're calling it.
You showed me that episode.
Because right here, this is the coach. He is the man that is in charge. He's, I believe, the executive director of the Dan Gable Museum. Jim Miller is his name, and I'm going to tell you right now, I want to give a shout out to Jim and to Troy and to Becca and to Chad and all the staff there that did a phenomenal job in putting this event together. But having an opportunity to take a picture of Mr. Miller really was a great opportunity. And again, for those
I just watched that episode, and that singlet that you saw there, the Armageddon singlet, was traded because they originally had the Kurt Angle singlet from, I believe, when he faced Brock. Was it when he faced Brock Lesnar at Mania?
The team Angle singlet from WrestleMania 19. So
And
I kind of like the one they have there now. Go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
Well, you know, one thing besides talking about that singlet, I was going to put out the little extra sidebar, especially since the Maestro is not here to defend himself. As we were taking this picture, I noticed off in the distance that Jeremy Carp almost fell over. I guess you would call him the mascot of the Hall of Fame. And you guys know what we're talking about. One of the staff members brings in their dog, and Jeremy almost fell over the dog while we were taking the picture. And I mean, again, just another memory we have. The dog was a wonderful dog. I'm sad we don't have a picture of it. I tried to show my wife, but the picture was pretty blurry about the puppy dog. Now, this right here, former guest of the show, Joyce Paustain, she just released her book. It was actually the first day on sale to buy her book talking about ringside stories of the AWA. I believe now you can buy it on Amazon for $25. I think you can also go to several other websites, including, I believe it is the Cauliflower Alley Club's website and a couple others, to buy this book. I actually got a chance to start reading it yesterday, and it really is an insightful read. There's not a lot of history books about the AWA, but I'll tell you right now, this book is definitely one of those where if you can buy it and you want to learn more about the AWA, one of the big three of the time, this is a book you definitely want to pick up. Now we're going to go ahead here real quick, and we're going to get things back up on the screen.
Sorry.
I also want to give a shout out to all you who are watching the program.
Oh, man. Look at that pic.
Hey, it's the Maestro. And, I mean, I'll tell you guys, I thought Jeremy was going to cry when he got this picture. He got a verbal agreement earlier in the day from the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant, to get this picture at the IPW show, and he did. And I will tell you this, and I don't know if Chris is going to know where I'm going with this, but I know Justin will. I asked the Boogie Woogie Man if he knew where Charlie Brown was, and he said he was out of town, Charlie Brown. But right now, we got the Boogie Woogie Man right here with our own Maestro, Jeremy Carp. And I got to tell you right now, this man was so with it. And for those that don't know, and again, we're going to look right here. This is our happy crew of guys. You have the Maestro, Justin Wade, Chris Rodell, myself, rocking the old school NWO black and white T-shirt. I got to tell you, it was a great night at IPW. And again, great night at the Hall of Fame as well. Now, I'm going to tell you this. And gentlemen, I already talked about Justin or Jeremy just about wanting to cry. I'm not going to fib. I thought Justin's jaw was going to hit the floor with this round table.
I wish I could have got there sooner. That was my fault. I should have known better.
Well, this is a professional wrestling training roundtable. Former guest of the show, Joe Malenko. Les Thatcher, well known for Heartland Wrestling Association. Bill DeMott, former trainer for the WWE. And the legendary original Mr. Wonderful, Rock Riddle, also former guest of the show. And these guys, they were only supposed to go an hour, and I think they went an hour and 25 minutes. Now, where everybody had their own moment, this was my moment. The opportunity to talk to the man who received the Gordon Soley Award, the Podfather himself, Conrad Thompson. And a lot of people didn't know this, but standing probably no farther than 5 feet away from Conrad Thompson was his wife, Megan Flair, was in attendance as well. I mean, had an opportunity. And also, just to let you know, you never know who you're going to see at the Hall of Fame. Conrad Thompson received his award after an introduction by WWE senior executive Bruce Pritchard was in the house. And I'll tell you right now, we were trying to talk with Mr. Pritchard, and he actually left the meeting early to conduct WWE business after we left. And I'm going to tell you right now, guys, it was a great opportunity there at the Hall of Fame. And I mean, from top to bottom, if you get a chance to go to the Hall of Fame in Waterloo, Iowa, I believe it's going to be late July again for the 25th anniversary, you need to be there. And gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, and Chris, I know you're there. I want to go ahead and I want to break 2 pieces of breaking news. So can you hit the breaking news sounder, please?
Sure. Give me a second. No, we got
Oh, here.
breaking. Keep talking.
Well, maybe we'll get the
Oh, there it is.
Go. It is I, Luke Roberts, the program director of the Wrestle Talk podcast, also one of the regular hosts of the program. And I have 2 major announcements to be taken care of. Number 1 is the idea of where at the Wrestling Hall of Fame, at the National Wrestling Hall of Fame induction ceremony, they had a silent auction. There were a wide variety of items. And if you are a wrestling collector, you need to make it a point to get to the Hall of Fame because they had a lot of great items. They had paintings by Ram Schomburg. They had a plaque that was going to be removed from the wall to be replaced by the new one of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. They had the tights, and I believe it was the jacket that Tim Storm wore the night he won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. They had, I think, every book as far as related to professional wrestling that has been written by John Cosper, our good friend John Cosper over at EatSleepWrestle.com. But ladies and gentlemen, I was made aware today that yours truly, Luke Roberts, actually won a silent auction item, and I'm hoping to be able to show it to you next week right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. I'm not going to give you a lot of info, but I know Justin and I were talking about it off air, and you're going to be very impressed at this item that I was able to acquire at the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. Now, Justin, wouldn't you agree with me there that this item is definitely something that if you're a wrestling collector, it's the kind of thing that is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get?
Oh yeah, that is a one. Yeah, that's a one of a kind item. It's a history-making item as well, and yeah, that was pretty exciting when I saw that you got that. That when you got that in the silent auction, I was pretty happy for you, brother.
Well, and thank you for that. And also to let you know, some of the other items they had too, they actually had, and I found out earlier today, they actually had a classic WWF Intercontinental Championship belt. Now, we all know you go to a variety of different websites and get replica championship belts. Not this one. When it has autographs of the likes of the Ultimate Warrior, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Bret the Hitman Hart, Shawn Michaels. I mean, right then and there, those are Hall of Fame legends that signed that championship belt. I think it went for like $700. They also had one of more, I believe it was the Attitude Era. It had something like 13 or 14 past champions that had signed it. And I think it went for about $600 or $650. And again, it was a great opportunity. Now, the other one I am working on, and this is where it's kind of a little bit of breaking news, but I want to kind of involve the Wrestle Talk podcast family. Now, as Justin and Chris and I had the opportunity, I want to give a shout out to our good friend, the SICW Classic Wrestling Champion, the Big Texan, who was in attendance at the Wrestling Podcast Collective. And he made it a point to kind of combine what SICW is doing and the Wrestle Talk podcast is doing. And I want to go ahead and share with the viewers of the Wrestle Talk podcast next year, as a part of the 25th anniversary. Right now, I am in the beginning stages. I'm keeping my fingers crossed this can happen. But my goal is I am hoping to be involved behind the scenes at the Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2024 in Waterloo, Iowa. And like I said, we're going to be putting out messages all over social media. But I'm going to tell you right now, there have been several people who have gone out there. I know Justin Wade has already helped out a little bit. I know Chris Rodell has helped. I talked to my good friend Herb Simmons, talked with our friend G.A. Wah over in Ontario. We talked to our good friend Dave Unger with the Attitude of Aggression podcast. We've talked with Nicholas Lopez from Pro Wrestling Opinion. We've talked with wrestlers from 3XW, IPW, you name it. We've talked with a lot of professional wrestling personalities, and we're hoping that in the weeks to come we can announce that Luke Roberts will be a part of the 2024 National Wrestling Hall of Fame event in Waterloo, Iowa. Gentlemen, I'm going to tell you one last thing, and I'm going to go ahead and turn things back over to you because I know we're running short on time. We're only about 5-6 minutes from that 9 o'clock hour. I got to tell you, it was a blast to be with everybody. Again, Justin, in your case, it was 5 days. Chris, it ended over a week that you and I have basically been hanging out together in some form or another. And all the memories that we have, without question, one of the greatest experiences in my 36 years in the wrestling business. And guys, I'm going to tell you, next year, if you haven't bought a ticket, you need to buy a ticket for the Cauliflower Alley Club in Vegas. You need to buy a ticket for the Hall of Fame in Waterloo, Iowa. You will not be disappointed.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah, it was a great time. I've spent way too much time with you, Luke. So go back to eating your chocolate shake. Get a good night's rest. We're gonna take care of the sponsors, and we're gonna head on out for the evening. So, Luke, it was great. What?
Because I was the last one here, and I know we got a couple minutes until we're done. Let me go ahead as my podcast. Let me go ahead and acknowledge our great sponsors here at the Wrestle Talk Podcast, because without them and without the viewers, this program does not exist. We want to thank Royal Mills Transportation with the CEO, Dewan Mills. If you need transportation in Kansas City, he's your guy. Rathbun Engraving, home of those great Wrestle Talk Podcast mugs, available for $20. You can get more information on our social media. Nobleman's Barber Lounge, Kansas City. Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall. Our good friends over at Interstate 70 Sports Media. Little Popeye Designs, the ones behind those great Wrestle Talk podcast tumblers. And, of course, you heard them earlier tonight, the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. All great sponsors of the Wrestle Talk podcast. And you know something, gentlemen? We just keep rocking and rolling. Real soon, we're going to be at episode 450. And before you know it, the magic number 500, halfway to 1,000, is on the horizons. And, gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, it's always a pleasure being with you guys. And, again, it was great having you at the Hall of Fame. Look forward to seeing you soon right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. I'm going to go ahead and leave it to you two gentlemen to wrap it up. And I look forward to seeing everybody right back here next Tuesday night.
See you, Luke. See you, Luke. Well, Justin, this brings us to an end. Like we said, it was a really good trip. We had a good time at in the Impact Pro Wrestling show. I thought the whole show was pretty good. There were a couple things that were questionable, but you know, that's part of wrestling. You know,
seeing Wes Briscoe and Attila Khan, that was my first time seeing Attila in action, seeing Big Jim in action. You know, since we've worked together in Nitro and Gary Jackson. Wes Briscoe, I'd like to see more of him in around some of the Midwest indies. He performed. I liked his interviews. After his match and his intensity with the crowd. So yeah, it was a good show. I liked that independent show. You know, those guys I've never seen before, and who knows? Those guys might work their way up. So we'll be talking about them on NXT someday.
Yes, sir. Well, Justin, it's coming to an end of our show. It's great spending time with you this past week. I haven't seen you in freaking years. It was great to see you.
Yeah, it's fun as hell.
And I hope we get to do it again real soon sometime, but I know we will get back together here on Wrestle Talk Podcast again. So once again, thanks everybody for joining us this week. And we will be back next week with another great episode with a great guest. So we hope to see you again real soon. Talk to you soon.
See you later.
See you later.